Hello, anybody on for a quick question and answer period? Hello, hello, hello. I got a few minutes if anybody has any questions. I guess not. One, two, three. I guess there's not too many people on today at this time. Hello, Danicia. Danicia. Any questions I can answer? Hello, Wendy. Anybody got any questions? Hi, Mima. Hello, Mary. Anyway, I guess if nobody has any questions, I won't be on too long. I got about 45 minutes here. Most of the stuff that you need to know is covered on the information website, file section, videos. Summer is interested in Masterfast to heal my gut. I am afraid that grape juice tears my stomach up. Will this improve after a week or two on the system? I don't know anything about you and your level of toxicity. Your body will heal and only heal when you're fasting. Masterfast makes it simple, and the issue when you have such a high acid load, toxic load, the body does not feel great when you're, moving all these toxins, because the grape juice is very aggressive. So if it's too much for you, you can start on a green juice, or you can start on the grape, and if it gets too much, you back off, go on some green juice for 1 to 3 days and see how that works. But how long do you want to take to heal? For me, pedal to the metal, deal with the issues and use all the tools to help you get through these times, and hopefully they pass quickly. And usually the first week to 2 weeks is the toughest, and for most people, unless you're a really toxic case and with a severe condition, that might last longer, like for some people. But you have to decide, you want to heal. Nobody can do it for you. And the Masterfast system makes it simple. We have tons of ways for supporting all these different issues that arise. And sometimes you're just going to have to embrace them and allow them to happen while we can assist to help. I hope that's answering your question. Kenny, I got one for Bonnie. Was just reading her comment about how she won't take tincture on a dry fast, where I'm probably the same. Could you maybe make GANs from herbs and then take a teaspoon of the plasma? Is there more in here? And then take a teaspoon of the plasma, water in place of the tinctures. Of course you can. All you need is a teaspoon. If you make the tinctures into a GANs. But you got to remember, we're dry, so we don't want to be doing too much. I'm not a fan of water, as you guys know, but if it's infused with the imprinted with the information of the herbs, by all means, you know, you can take a teaspoon, half a teaspoon, whatever, so you get that information in you. The herbs, you know, they're not a must. It's just another tool for some people on the dry fast. I've found that it actually allows to dig deeper in the dry fast for myself. I don't do it from the beginning. I've tried from the beginning. I've tried midway and everything. Now I'll go dry, you know, a few days, and then I'll start doing the tinctures. Just try different ways and see what helps you push further. This is the whole reason we use these tips, to push further and get better results. Because a lot of people struggle with dry fasting, which is, it's all mental. And the issue is most people are not comfortable with new sensations and feelings that they've never felt before when the body's burning all these toxins. So we do what we can to help and aid so we can make it go a little smoother, I guess, and hopefully we can push beyond our comfort zone safely, and that's the key, always pushing beyond the comfort zones. Anything else here? Sarah Parks, thank you. It did. Just trying to figure out how long to plan to be trapped at home near a bathroom. I would be willing to suffer in order to heal. Yeah, well, you know, you can do it with prudence. If you're having these issues, you know, you can helping with, you know, baking soda enemas, especially if you have the runs. That really helps, and you can up your morning and evening if you have to, and then you can up your psyllium pudding intake so we can help absorb more of those acids. You have to play around these things, but sometimes the loose bowels can go for 1 or 2 weeks if there's a lot of acid happening, so these will really help you. But yeah, you're going to need to be around a bathroom sometimes. Anybody else on here? That's all the questions I see right now. So I started today's my day 1 master fast for the fall time. We'll see where this goes. I'm constantly working just like you guys. I got lots of work to do. Nobody is at a different level than anybody else. We're on the same playing field. We all have the same tools and bodies to work with. So one day at a time, we keep moving forward and do the best we can do, but always pushing beyond our comfort zones. This is the key. If you quit every time you have a discomfort, you're not going to get anywhere, because nature's operating table, you have to really have the faith and understand how it works. Is it okay to do enemas, or do you really recommend them? Well, not to do enemas. Is it okay not to do enemas? If your bowels are moving at least once a day, maximum every 2 days, and you're feeling okay, you can get away without them. But I'm going to tell you, they're a lifesaver when you're not feeling well, you're nervous, or those parasites are really munching on you, or you're pouring out acids with diarrhea. They're going to be a lifesaver. And this is where the Master Fast system shines, because we have so many tools to use to make it easier for us. The choice is yours, but the bowels have to move at least once daily is recommended. Every 2 days, yeah, okay, but when the bowels don't move, you don't feel good. And the key is keep things moving, because stagnation is disease, and that's why we get sick. So the key for cleansing when you're in a fast is to keep everything flowing. We don't want acids to be sitting there burning. We want them to move out as quickly as possible. I hope that answers. Shanti Moon, hello Shanti. It's been a while. Hope all's well. Adam, do you dry fast while working or rest all day? No. I do my normal routines. I don't have a job like everybody else, but I go do my 16K bike ride and I do my hour yoga just like every other day. And if I don't feel like doing it, like this morning, I still do it. Forever fruitful forest. Hi Gina, always pleasure to see you. Just remembered that you regained some height, spine straightened on the master fast. That must have been mostly thanks to dry fast. Mine doesn't like the. Sorry, I can't hard to see these. This is a long one. Mostly the dry fast. Mine doesn't seem like that yet, nor does the head area. I've been considering going to either a chiropractor or physiotherapist to deal with spine curvature. I never had a spine curvature. Sciatica, piriformis, sclerola for a while. Don't know whether it's worth the money though. Quite a few people have negative experience with chiropractors. Dr. Morris also warns about naturopathy, was that naturopathy? Or is best to stretch and do yoga without relying on these. Only reason I used chiropractors in the past was when my SI joints were popping out all the time and my ribs were popping out. It was very painful and sometimes I just couldn't move, so I just used them to put it in place to relieve pressure of the nerve so I can move around. And that was happening quite often, especially when I was doing the high fats. It was almost a monthly thing. It was really crazy for a while. But my height, I regained the height mostly from dry fasting. And I've been dry fast for about 3 years, and when I was on the master fast is when I noticed. Actually, not me. My first yoga teacher noticed that I was taller. He came one day after 2 years. I haven't seen him. And he says, "You're taller. You grew." I go, "What?" And when I measured, that's when I found out. So it was a work in progress. But dry fasting, getting rid of water, is a major key player. Master fast has all these things in them. It's part of it all. You're wet and dry, wet and dry, wet and dry. That's the key. And get rid of the water, because water just dehydrates you and sucks all essential elements out of your body. People are drinking way too much water. Hi Nicola. Tony, are there any great books on 432? Books, I'm not actually, yeah. There's one from Rudolf Steiner's student named Maria Reynolds, Scales, Tones, and something it's called. Maria Reynolds. That's a great one. There's another one by a Canadian, another musician. I don't remember the name. I'll have to look it up. Ask me, put it on the post and I'll find the name for you. But there's good information on omega432.com, and there's many other sites right now. Like when we were doing this research about 7-8 years ago or more, there was hardly anything on the internet. Now it's flooded. It's gaining ground. All the better, because it is the number of creation. That's the only music we should be listening to. It's in harmony with our living cells and every other living cell. Anything outside of that is in dissonance and acidic, because it causes stress to cells. Lisa, my kidneys filter good during dry fast, but peter out after. Is this normal? Yes, it's normal. I have been doing kickboxing and spin. Would this affect filtration? I don't know how long have you been, filtering, how long you've been on a clean diet. These are all going to influence how much toxic load is your body, how stagnant is your lymph. The first indication of kidneys starting to open up is when you start dry fasting and you start seeing filtration. And as you keep going back and forth, wet and dry, on the master fast, you're going to be starting to be programmed to start working properly, as long as you don't overdo it with fluids. And that's the key. Keep your fluids to minimal, but enough to keep you going. You don't want to be going to the bathroom urinating too often. Now, the biggest player for kidney filtration is time. Doing this, wet and dry, wet and dry, wet and dry. That's going to be the big player. And then the time where you're going to see them really, really open up is when you start doing the long dry fasts. And I'm talking when you start getting over the 5 days. Now, this is going to be something that you need to be practicing for a while, and have a clean diet for a few years would be prudent. You know, and be dry fasting for at least a year behind you, minimum. 1 to 2 years before you start getting into over 5 days. I would recommend, or if you've been eating clean for 2-3 years at least, and mostly fruits. You can try and push yourself over 5 days, but this is something we stress that you should have supervision, take responsibility for yourself, and once you start hitting the 7 to 9 days, you're going to see them really open up. That's my experience and a few others that have done these. When I did 5 to 7 days the first times, I seen a huge difference, and then when I got to the 12th day, it was like, wow, they just opened right up. And for me now to have them open up like they did at those times, it takes a few days of dry fasting now. Once you start moving the gunk out, you have to go longer to go deeper. And this is the issue. So as long as you're seeing some filtration, snowflakes and everything, there's things are happening, and then you're doing your dry and you're getting the extra filtration, things are good. We just, as long as we're seeing some filtration, we just got to keep moving one step at a time forward. Dana, how you doing? Wow, cool, perfect timing. 64 days, awesome. Keep going. Keep inspiring us. I just started mine today, so we'll see where I go. How effective are prune juice compared to enemas in terms of bowel movement? Two different things. They work differently. Everyone's individual. Some the prune juice works well, and some it doesn't work as well. Washing with fluids through an enema is, it's a little bit different compared to going through the other end through our mouth. But, we use them, we use both. I like doing the prune sometimes with the psyllium instead of the grape juice. So help that move through quicker. How many liters of baking soda water do you use for enemas? Is it 50-50 solution? No, not 50-50. In a 5-gallon pail, I put about 3 ounces of baking soda, 3 dry ounces. So I don't know, in a couple of liters, maybe a tablespoon or so. Kelly, hi Gino, could you please share your thoughts on doing mass fast while having neurological breathing issues with tons of mucus and severe respiratory congestion? What precautions or extra steps might you take? Thank you. Okay, breathing issues, respiratory, are the biggest challenge for us. Now, respiratories are all tied in the physicality to adrenals and a little bit of thyroid, but it's 100% 100% emotional like everything, but it's a really big emotional issue. You really need to practice breath work, and this is going to be a big key player. And enemas are going to be a real big help for when you're doing fasting, because the colon is also known as the third lung. I notice myself when I do overeat, my breath is not as good. If I go do an enema, or I have a good bowel movement, the breath is much better. So you're gonna have to listen to your body and understand the connection there with the bowels and the lungs. Very important. Herbs, you're gonna need to have herbs on hand for the lungs. A herb tea that you can breathe in the steam. Also, you can use that, and also a tincture. But as soon as the bowels start clearing the acids and stuff, your breath should start getting better. And that's going to be the key. The bowels. You got to get them moving every day, even if you have to do enema twice a day or whatever. So that's going to be your key. Like, you're not going to be able to do without, you're not going to be able to change over your situation without cleaning the bowel. It ain't going to happen. So what's the best way to clean the bowel? Fasting. And I don't care what issue anybody has, this is the only way to heal. But you're going to have to be prudent when you're having issues like this. And if there is a case where you can't breathe, you're going to need to use emergency and go get stabilized, and then get the hell out of there as quick as you can and go home and start over again. This is the way it is. You're going to have to deal with it. I would highly recommend you make CO2 GANs and get a water pipe and breathe it in with a little bit of amino acids. That deals directly with the emotion, because the lung is the gateway to the emotion in our physicality. Learn about CO2 zinc oxide GANs. I have a video how to make it. It's not rocket science. It's pretty simple. There's women doing it. There's children doing it. So anybody can learn, or find somebody who, if you have a challenge with it, find somebody who can do it for you, so they can make it for you, and start using these tools. You can make CO2 zinc oxide pain pads to wear. These will really help with those issues. So that's it for that. Teresa, Adam, Bob Marley music in 432. I'm not sure if Bob Marley's in 432. I'm not a musician, so I can't really tell by ear. You can get apps that what's it called? There's pitch apps, and they'll show you if it's in 432 or not, if you set it up at 432. There's a few different apps for Androids and other phones, I believe. I have an Android, so I have one app on there. High diastolic pressure, how to fix. How to fix high blood pressures? Well, fasting. There's no other way. And you have to dig. You have to clear out those kidneys. The kidneys are the main issue for high blood pressure. How long is it going to take? As long as your body needs. And the issue is here, you're going to have to go beyond your comfort zones and clean out those kidneys. So, if you think you're going to be doing it with herbs, it's going to be a long haul while you're eating. Most of us here have went down the route of eating fruit and herbs, and I haven't seen much success in those areas. Very few. Strong genetics can heal while they're eating. Myself, herbs did hardly anything for me while I was eating, and I spent a fortune on them. As soon as you start fasting, that's where everything opens up and goes crazy and starts healing. That's the only way the body can really heal the really deep issues. I've been fasting for a long time, after going that high fat raw vegan crap, after in the second year, that's when I started getting losing my memory and all kinds of things, and I wasn't really getting into doing my fasting anymore. It was like I couldn't do it anymore, and that's what really put me in a spiral going downhill in my health. So you're gonna have to make the effort. Go 108 days, and then let me know what happens with your blood pressure. Gina, Kelly, hello. Raza Van Roden, hello. Are we supposed to still have bowel movements while on a long dry fast? On dry fasting, we don't worry about bowel movements, no. But it doesn't mean you can't have one. I actually, on my longer dry fast now, I have bowel movements. But the first, for a while, I hardly had any bowel movements on dry fasting. But it could happen. But we do not worry about it on a dry fast. When we're doing the juices, they move. This is why we want to do an enema before, so we clear the bowels of anything, because anytime the bowels are empty, going back to breath, everything works better. When the bowels are full, everything is more stagnant in the body. So we start with an enema, we hydrate a bit, and then we, after we break the dry fast, we hydrate a little bit. After about an hour or two, then we can do another enema, and to wash out all the residues that were burned through the dry fasting. Eating is the worst thing for neurological conditions. You betcha, Kenny. Food is the worst thing for all conditions. So the only way we get sick is through the food. You know what I mean? This is where people have to understand. We need to fast, and we need to keep fasting part of our lifestyle. Dry fasting, always, never give it up. Every day you should have a dry fasting window. Every week you should be dry fasting at least 24 hours. Go up to 48 hours, or like Radhika here, who's been doing 3 days a week. It's pretty tough. I haven't even done that. I do 48 hours a week and 3 days on the month, and then I do a long one on the season change. So Radhika, hi Gino, I'm on day 69. Amazing. I'm feeling an obstruction in my throat. I'm unable to cough it up or swallow it. It's been going on for a few days. Any suggestions? Castor oil pack. Try gargling with some apple cider vinegar with water, half and half. You're moving stuff out of the throat area. It's good news. It's not good feeling, but it's good news. So try and do a couple of those things. You could even do hot and cold, ice and heat. So try those few things and see if that's going to help you. Hopefully you can get through it quickly. You're digging deep, that's for sure. You may want to, I don't know if you're on a dry or if you're on the juice, you may want to do a dry for a few days and see if that, but it depends. Try a few different things and see if you can loosen up. There's stuff moving that it's got to come out. At all costs, you got to get it out. So do these few suggestions to see if that'll help. What else is there? I think you can also gargle with sage, or what other herb is there for the throat? Like, I'm not a herbalist. I have everything written down. So look for different herbs, but you try those. You can also do a herbal compress as well. You can mix herbs with the castor oil, and heat it up, so that can help move, and put a pinch of cayenne. Minakeshi, I don't know if I pronounced your name right, sorry. Hi Gino, for a 15-year-old kid with Lyme and viral load, how long should I do raw before jumping in hybrid and then master fast? I wouldn't wait. Hybrid right away. And when he's ready, get him on master fast. You can jump right into the master fast. Depends what his diet's like, but Lyme disease, you're gonna have to do some work. And how are you gonna get it out? This is the way you're gonna do it. You're gonna have to dig it out. There's no other way. You can also help with ozone body bags. There's an easy way to. Here, I'll show you mine. This is this is a simple ozone generator. This is not a medical grade ozone generator, but I bought this. It's a soda. It's used for ozonating water. I customized it. Simple customization. Once you do that, the warranty's out the window. So what you can do is you have to open it up, and where the little air pump goes into the ozone chamber, we put a hose so we can feed it pure oxygen. Let me show you. Here's an oxygen tank with a valve. If you can see that. Okay, you got to get, this is a very fine adjustment valve. And what we do with that, we feed the ozone pure oxygen. Now that oxygen tank is not a medical oxygen tank. It's just a welder supply oxygen tank, so there's no issues getting it, and it's cheap. The tank, I actually bought it. You can buy these small tanks here and get them filled for about 20 bucks. And what you do is you run the oxygen through the ozone generator, and the ozone is being produced becomes pure, because using a machine from ambient air, we got all kinds of things in the air, not only oxygen. But when you're putting pure oxygen into the ozone generator, you're getting pure oxygen. And what you can do with that is you get a big garbage bag, and you put your whole body in it after you've taken a hot bath or shower with no clothes on, because ozone eats everything. And you're going to have to do it in a room with a window open and a fan, because you don't want to be breathing it in. And then you put the tube of the ozone inside, and you seal up, and you do that for 30 minutes to an hour. And you can do that. You can start off on a few times a week, and then you can work your way up to once a day. While you're on the fast, it would be easy. If you breathe too much ozone, the antidote is vitamin C and lemon juice. And I mean, you know, because it'll make you cough. So even being on the juice with the lemon and a little bit of vitamin C, that'll help get rid of it. If you're on the fast, you shouldn't have any issues. I have a friend of mine who's helped a couple of people get rid of their Lyme disease just doing ozone and changing their diet cleaner. But it was a 3-4 month process of using ozone, getting it to a point of every day. So that's another thing on top of the massive fast that could help. I'm not a fan of ozone, so that's one thing you can do. Thomas, looking good. Hey. And regarding Bob Marley, YouTube has a mix of music in 432, and it's damn good. Yeah, Bob Marley's amazing. Maybe somebody converted. I don't know if he's originally in 432. That's what I don't know. Did you get your Lamborghini? How's it working? Sorry guys, I gotta figure out how to do this on my computer. It's a pain to do this on the phone. What time is it? I don't know how much battery life I have. And hydrate, do you mean grape and lemon juice? Dry fasting is what's going to hydrate you. It's not the drinking. It's hard for people to understand, because hydration is not about water, folks. It's about hydrogen. So it's the back and forth action of the dry, wet, dry, wet, dry, wet that's going to trigger hydration. We create hydration. We don't need to drink water to create hydration. You have to train your body, and going back and forth, wet and dry, wet and dry, wet and dry is going to do it. Drinking water is going to be in contradiction to hydration. through my experience. I could be wrong. You don't have to believe anything I tell you. Do you think a 15, 16-hour dry fast, at least 4 days per week, would be a good start when beginning? No, you should be doing that every single day. You know, start on 12 hours. If 15, 16 is too much, work your way up to 13, 14 a day. And if it takes you a few months to get to 15, 16, that's fine, no big deal. The key is to get to that 16, 18 hours daily. That's where you want to be, and a 24-hour every week. And then grow from that, wherever you want to take it. Rosso, I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry, Rosso. How, in your knowledge, would absorption nutrients work after having fasted for long? Would muscle be able to be built quicker than before? Absolutely. My son did a post a while ago. He did only 2-week master fast, I think it was. He's been working out since he was 16, and he wasn't able to gain any more muscle. After the 2 weeks master fast, he lost, his weight. He got paranoid, and that's what made him stop. He removed tons of crap. Tonsil stones came out, and after breaking the fast, within a few months, he just blew up and gained an extra 15 pounds of muscle on top of what he lost. And everybody at the gym was asking him, what are you doing? And because he's vegan, he's been vegan his whole life. They couldn't understand how he gained all this muscle all at once, pretty much in their eyes. That's how it's done. Once you clean up the gut is the key. You got to clean up the gut, and you have to have those kidneys filtering. And if you don't have that happening, you can work out all you want. You're gonna just be doing more damage, because when you work out, you create acids. So if you're gonna do hard workouts with weights, your kidneys better be filtering. Get healthy first. And hey, Artie, Radhika, breath work too, breathing out as low as you can, squeezing every bit of it out. Yep, that's a great tip. Has anyone cured Lyme disease on master fast? Nobody cures anything. Only the body can heal itself. Lisa, Jan, do you use the psyllium pudding daily when you are not? No, I don't use it daily when I'm not on the master fast. Use it occasionally, whatever. If you're in a really acidic situation, even after a long fast, you can help. As long as your bowels are moving, and I don't see a problem with it. I mentioned in a post that I think in the last video I was at a point years ago when I was doing tons of fasting and lots of psyllium. I reached a point I couldn't do any more psyllium. I put it in and would throw up. Put it in and would throw up. After several times trying it, I stopped. I couldn't do it anymore. And that was the point for me that my GI tract was as a really clean point back then, because that was for several years I couldn't touch any onions or garlic at all. They would just destroy my GI tract if I ate them. And that was a good sign of the GI tract being pretty squeaky clean. Adam, does structured water from fruits also dehydrate? No, not at all. This is how we hydrate ourselves properly with fruit. That's the key. From plants. Fruit is the top. That's our species-specific food for keeping us going with the least obstructions. Out of all the foods for man, fruit is the least obstructive. Anything other than fruit has obstructions. Fruit does have some, don't get me wrong. All foods, all matter has obstructions, but fruit is the least of matter state of obstructions of food for us. Greens have a lot more, and then you go into nuts and seeds, fats, proteins, and you get more and more obstructions from those things, and that's how we get sick. Gina Davis, so great, good stuff. Thank you. Who else? Okay, so where are we at? We're at 9:10. Did I get all the questions? Any other questions? Another question from Russo. What foods would be beneficial to consume once fasting is complete? Would fruit and vegetable juices be more helpful to grow than opposed to foods such as meat and carbohydrates? Meat and carbohydrates. Flesh is a stimulant, it's not a food. Carbohydrates are very obstructive and abrasive. The reason why there's so many sick vegetarians and vegans is because they eat so many carbohydrates. If you're referring to it like grains, they are very, very obstructive. And, you know, a meat eater who eats no carbohydrates but lots of fruits and veggies, they're usually healthier than vegans eating all these carbohydrates. I've seen it over and over. Do I recommend eating flesh? No. If you're healthy and you desire to eat a slab of carcass once in a while, no big deal. Your body will be able to handle it if your kidneys are filtering well and everything. It ain't going to kill you. If you're doing it, occasionally, once a month, once every few months, it's not a big deal. But if you keep repeating it over and over on a regular basis, you're going to start building up residues and acids and everything that those things produce, and start collecting, what do they call them? Tenants, parasite families will start to reside in your body again. Are onions and garlic bad for us? I think I answered your question. You build with fruit. The strongest mammal pound for pound is the gorilla. Fruit is a builder. Greens are your builders. But the greens have leave a little more residues, as I was explaining. So the least residue foods are going to be your key player. And the key to building is V equals P take away O. Remove all the obstructions, vitality goes way up. And once your vitality goes up, everything's possible. So when you have obstructions in the body, these are the problems that can arise with all the different names the big pharma gave them. And that's not where we want to be. We want to be free of obstructions. This is the goal to health. V equals P take away O. You have obstructions, the body uses power to get rid of the obstructions. You have no obstructions, the body uses no power because there is no obstructions, vitality goes up. It's a simple concept, simple formula, and that's where your power comes from. If you're looking to build size and muscles, like the bodybuilder type of thing, it's not really a natural thing. People like it. Look at little chimpanzees, much smaller than us, can rip your arm right out of your socket with all the strength they have. They don't have big muscles. They don't have big muscles. Sorry about that. Somebody messaged. So an efficient muscle doesn't have to be big, but it'll be nice looking if you build it properly, for sure. Are onions and garlic bad for us? Onions and garlic are not good or bad. They're herbs, they're not foods. I've answered this, I think, today. With all the herbs we have in the herbology world, we don't even need to be using those. If you want to eat onions and garlic, if you like the taste, eat the greens instead of the bulbs. They're much easier on us, much, much easier. I was able to eat those, but the actual bulbs I wasn't able to eat before. So if you want to do it that way. If you want, there's another way you can eat garlic if you get a good quality organic garlic. You can cut it all up, put it in lemon juice, and keep it in the fridge. And the older it gets, the nicer it gets. And I was able to digest a little bit that way because it starts breaking down in a different form. Thank you, Gene. Okay. What? Rebecca. Hey, Gino. What does how you affect detox? I'm not understanding your question, Rebecca. What does how you affect detox? Rewrite it. I don't understand what you're trying to say. Sorry. Matthew, are you doing a dry fast since the season change? Tomorrow I start, Matthew. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is my usual day. I do my 2-day dry fast till Thursday. Last week I missed, and I'm going to be doing my dry fast tomorrow. I start. Rebecca, does honey affect detox? If you overdo it, yes. That's why I put, if you're hungry and you want to get rid of the hunger, do a teaspoon. Because I know people are going to do more than a teaspoon. So keep it to a minimum. You can use honey if you're vegan, strict vegan. You can use maple syrup. You can even use a very small amount of coconut oil. I'm not a fan of fats. And small amounts, from what I've seen, do not affect. The Master Fast system, if you look at it, all the things we have, all the tools, we have the juice that tastes great, and I don't get sick of it. We have a tea that we can add all types of veggies and change the flavors and make it like a broth, as long as the kidney herbs are your base. Okay, so we got lots of things to keep us satisfied. We got our pudding. That's a dessert for me. So this is the easiest, it's the simplest cleanse out there. We have so many tools to keep us going. So many. So, work with them. Do whatever you have to do to keep going. This is what's holding us back, is our mind. Raw sprouted beans, very obstructive. If you're going to eat beans, sprouts are the way to do it. I did sprouts for many, many, many years. Tons of sprouts. Pea sprouts, speckled pea sprouts. I did a lot of those. Sunflowers. A lot of grasses and various other sprouts. I did microgreens, a lot of those. Sprouts are... they're good. I like sprouts. If you're going to eat greens, best you grow your own. Cheap and much better. I grew all mine with ocean water, diluted ocean water. They lasted up to 3 weeks in the fridge. Everything I bought, I tried to test. They wouldn't even last a week. No comparison when you grow your own with ocean water. My friend is on 7-day... It's like watermelon 7 days now and is noticing cold feet and hands. What can I tell him about this to have an explanation? What was your friend doing before? What kind of diet? When people start changing their diets and go on to more cleansing diet, yeah, they're going to notice that the extremities get cold because all the energy goes towards the the torso for cleaning the head and the torso. So more of the blood flow goes in those areas. But thyroid, for temperature, check for his basal temperatures. I'm sure he's going to be low, so he's going to have to kick up that. But we're on Master Fast here. I don't. Eating watermelon, it's okay, I guess. It's a great fruit, but it takes a while to get things moving again. Like when I went raw in 2000, I froze literally for 2 years. I was freezing all the time, even in the summer. After 2 years passed, I had no more issues with cold, and I was fine on raw foods for with the cold in those times. Everybody was complaining to me about how cold they got and everything. When I went to the high-fat raw vegan, all my issues resurfaced with a vengeance, and I still have a little bit of the issues. I have to solve that with the cold. So this is where you have to get the lymphatic system moving. It's all about the lymph. The fat's completely plugged up my lymph system, and that's why I lost all my hair and my teeth. So kidney filtration and get that lymph moving. And how are we going to do that? We got to do master fasting. Keep it a part of your life. Dry fasting. Keep everything going back and forth, wet and dry, wet and dry, wet and dry, wet and dry. And when we're doing the master fast, we load up on herbs. When we're eating, sporadically, don't waste your money on herbs when you eat. I don't waste my money on herbs when I eat. When I go on a master fast, I load up on herbs. Spend your money on herbs when you fast. Don't waste your money on herbs when you eat. And you're going to save a lot of money because master fasting is way cheaper than eating. I get complaints after complaints. They got no money for master fast. It's pretty ridiculous. I'm getting tired of listening to it. It cost me $10 a day to master fast with lots of herbs. And many people have known or tell you the same thing. People who are saying it's expensive, they're not ready to heal. That's all they're not ready to commit. Yeah, you got to put out a little bit of money to buy the herbs, but they last. So, Tony, do you sell herbs for upper circulation? So I have a bit of, yeah, we have upper circulation and we have brain and nerve. Of course, GI tract. This is GI tract. Always, I'm working. I had 2 people tell me they've noticed my hair is starting to grow back a little, so things are changing. Do you agree with Dr. Morse saying how some greens have sulfur? Everything has sulfur. The elements, it's one of the elements. Some have more than others. Durian is loaded, onions and garlic. All the cruciferous vegetables have sulfur. Greens are hard on us. Durian, it's a fatty fruit. I like it. I eat it. They're not so much of an issue when everything is working, but when we're full of sulfur and everything, we should not be into those as much. Even arugula and stuff like that, they have sulfur. I can handle arugula. I like broccoli once in a while, but it's not something very rare I buy it. I love your patience, Vicky. We do what we can. Adam, do we need high amount of calories of fruit to build muscle like your son? Do you need high amount of calories? You need enough to be satisfied. And forget about numbers. You have to be satisfied. That's what we work with. Start listening and learning how to read your body. My son doesn't eat all raw. He eats greens and all that stuff. But he is vegan. It's been his whole life. Raza, wow, very delightful. Thank you. See more. Where are we here? If one has parasites, would hybrid master fast be a way to cleanse while being able to eat? What changes in all aspects would occur and be noticed when parasites are no longer needed? Parasites are no longer needed? Well, if you're on the hybrid, you're doing the master fast for the whole day with one meal. You're going to get some results. You're doing your dry fast and you're doing the herbs. The issue is, I came up with this for the youngsters, the children, and old people, and people who just can't fathom fasting. Are you going to get the results of a full master fast? No. No, you're not going to be able to get to the cellular level to be able to access the blueprint as easily. Let's put it that way. To access the blueprint, which we all have, a perfect blueprint of ourselves, you have to fast to get to that, have an easier access to it. Eating, strong genetic person probably can access it while eating. Us with weaker genetics, we gotta fast. We got to clean up all the stuff from our ancestors as well as our own. So, parasites, I don't know if we can get rid of them all completely, honestly. As long as we're eating, I think we're going to have parasites. This is why I'm saying not to juice fruits when you're eating, to just eat them. When we fast, we use the cooked juice, which is something different. It's nothing to do with what everybody else thinks it is. It's used for cleansing, and it's a powerhouse, but it also is a builder. Believe it or not, that's why people's nails get better, their hair gets better, their skin gets better. There's nutrition in there, so-called nutrition, but that's what people call it. I don't believe in nutrition. It's all field interactions. This is how we work in the physicality and beyond. It's Nancy, is it good to squeeze lemon in the kidney tea? Sure, of course, yeah, you can do that. Chuka or Chuka, I don't know how to pronounce your name, it's the same, sorry. I failed English and every other language. Bonnie, what does one look for to know when to push and when to fold them on a dry fast? On a dry fast, breathing, number one. If you are having trouble breathing and you're forcing yourself to breathe, but you just can't get the breath to happen, you have to break the fast. Because we have to breathe, unfortunately. The other thing you look for is a very high heart rate. Once you start going over 100, it's a bit high. And it's uncomfortable. My 12th day I had in the 90s for the last 2 days. I woke up with it, and then I was able to do my, massaging with the burnt stick on the narrow points, all the narrow points and the kidneys. And it would bring it down, doing my yoga and everything would bring it down a little. But it stayed pretty high for those couple days. So the other thing is, besides your mind getting in the way, you're going to have the faith for the sensations that we're not used to. If you're... What I found is you need to push yourself with the breath and movement. I'll drag myself, get on my bike and go do my 16K. Even though I don't feel like it. I just go push myself, because after that I feel much better, and then I do my yoga. And I'm fine for that day. Usually that fixes the problem. If you really just don't have the energy, just break the fast, because it's just a mind game, and if you're not comfortable with it and you don't understand it, and fear sets in, it's not good to be in fear when you're on a fast. You have to have the faith and the trust in nature's operating table. It takes a while to build that trust. The only way you're going to build it is through experience of fasting. So the more you fast, the more you're going to understand, oh, okay, yeah, I felt that before, heart palpitation, whatever, no big deal. It's uncomfortable, but, you work through it. Because the body, when you have these sensations, is doing work. That's what you have to understand. I hope that answered Adam, thanks for your patience with my newbie questions. Well, yeah, I wish everybody would read the pinned post and the files, the website, watch the videos. There's a lot of information there. I'm going to start doing more of these when I can to help expand. I know I can't cover everything. I can't think of everything. New things come up, but a lot of questions are answered in the informations I provided. I can't make everybody happy. Some people get it and some people don't. I, I just can't make everybody happy. It's you have to just once you've read, if you don't understand, ask the question. There's lots of us helping on the board now, and appreciate everybody's time. You know, everybody's putting time in. Nobody's paying us to do this. As an advocate of the 80-10-10 when not fasting, 80-10-10. It's an alright concept, yeah. 80-10-10, Yugoslav diet. The fats, keep them down, keep them low. When not fasting, do you eat any fats or strictly fruits? I keep the fats minimal myself. Like avocado, I don't even have one a month. Very rare. Durian would be my fatty food. Nuts and seeds, very little. I do occasionally. My body doesn't work good with fats anymore. I still have a little bit of issues of fungus on my toenails that I not completely got rid of, which I obtained through the high-fat raw vegan. I never had that issue before. I'm being mostly on fruit and salads and seaweeds. That was my diet before that. So a lot of sprouts, tons of sprouts. You know, keep it simple. Keep the diet simple. You know, a few cooked veggies, steamed or baked occasionally. No big deal if that's where you want to be. You need to settle the emotion. Some people are going to go 100% raw, and emotionally they won't be well. And if you can't settle your emotion, you're not going to do well on 100% raw. And so that's why some people need to do some cooked. It's not an issue. Keep it to a minimal. I still do it now. Like I went for a long time without it, and I went back to cooked because my emotions got really screwed on that high-fat raw vegan, and I went back to comfort of my mother's cooking to some degrees, but you know, we got to do what we can. I feel best on raw, and I feel even better with nothing. I like on dry fasting. Do you load up on herbs during the dry or wet portion of the fast? On the wet, we're loading up on the wet, but as we're doing the dry, we have the tinctures, so if we want to use them, we can use them. On the dry, we're doing half doses. We're not going crazy on the dry. We're just using the herbs to assist us because they are very highly elevated souls, and they are the best helping hand we can have. Okay, I'm not going to be able to answer the questions here. My battery is dying. I'm going to have to end this, and I'm going to have to actually go to bed soon because I got to get up at 4. One last questions, Maria. What diet would you recommend for a 20-month-old baby? She has no issues but is very petite. Fruits, coconuts, hemp seeds. You can get a good quality green powder, and you can blend that all up and give her that. If she's not putting on weight, there's probably issues, so I would start Started on some herbs to get those kidneys opened up and filtering. You know, you only need drops on a 20-month-old. There's a weight thing for the doses for babies. So you can do that for babies. They're the same species as us, so fruit is going to be the staple. But they need some fats. Would be a wise thing to do, a little bit of fats in their diet. And pay attention to their urine and stuff, you know, to make sure they're filtering. And their bowels are moving. Do you eat once a day even when off master fast? I usually have 2 meals. I did 1 meal a day for many years, and my goal is to get back to 1 meal a day. That's the best, if you can stick to 1 meal a day. Is the senna plant herb beneficial? It's a little bit aggressive. We use Cascara sagrada there for moving bowels. Occasional use of senna won't be a problem, but it's a bit aggressive. When you're in dry fasting for 24 hours, how much are you eating a day and precisely what? Do you not take a single herb with food or without her? No. I use herbs sporadically when I'm eating. I don't, but I'm not going crazy on tincture and stuff. I'll make teas occasionally and put different things in my teas, or if I have a salad, I might have herbs in the salad, like parsley, cilantro, celery, etc., etc. But anyway, I'm going to have to end this because the battery's dying, folks. So, till next time, keep digging.